Watch me adjust this little mic every single minute. Please don't mind this little black thing here. This is a cheap mic that I'm using for audio, so you guys can hear me better. It looks ridiculous, I know, but it is what it is. So let's get on with this video. I've been occupying myself with a bunch of movies, and I love films. They just take me to another world and give me like different types of emotions that I enjoy. It could mess me up, it could make me cry, it could like make me feel like love is like forever real and it's everywhere in this world, and it could make me laugh hysterically. Films are a great escape. I don't know what to tell you. Since I am a known being who watches films all the time, here are my January and February
films I've seen video.
Okay, the title.
We're working on it.
This video is actually inspired by a little bit of Monika. She talks about films and everything about it, and I saw one of her videos called Everything I've Watched in January, which she got inspired by another creator. So yeah, I'll just link her video down below. Check her out if you're into those related topics. So I have my little notebook here, and how is this gonna work? I'm gonna be highlighting top 3 films I've seen for that month, and then I'm gonna have like special mentions yeah. So we'll start with the month of January. I've seen 19 films for the month of January. Is it just me, but I can't focus or do anything properly unless there's like background noise or a film I'm focusing on? If you guys want to keep up with the films I'm watching and the reviews I put out, they're all gonna be in my letterboxd. If you don't know what letterboxd is like a social media for all of the films. You can get details, genres, where to watch them. You can see other people's reviews, and there's like backgrounds from actors and actresses and also the directors. You can even leave your review, and you can also make lists. My friend actually introduced me to Letterboxd. This is not a Letterboxd sponsorship or advertisement. I wish it was. So my top 3. Number 1 in the month of January, I watched Creep. There's actually 3 movies of Creep. The third one is soon to be released, I think. I'm not sure with this information. There's Creep 1 and 2 that's fully out there. I watched it because my friends recommended it to me. Shout out Owen and Thea. It was entertaining. It was very different. The way Creep was filmed, it's like so like the characters holding a camera. I don't know what you call it. I forgot what you call it. It's like a footage film. Like the main character is holding a camera. We're looking through the eyes of the camera. If you understand what I mean, thank you. I'm really bad at describing. Okay, I left Creep 1 a 3.5 and I left Creep 2 a 4 stars. I'm pretty sure Creep 2 was actually super entertaining. Creep is a film from 2014 directed by Patrick Brice. So basically this character named Aaron is actually a filmmaker or film producer or whatever you call it. He finds a hiring ad online. The customer needs film services. So Aaron was like, hey, okay, let me get that. Because in the hiring ad, it says like $1,000 a day. So obviously, as the character Aaron is low on cash and $1,000 a day, that's pretty big. So he went for it, but he didn't know what he was getting into. So from the summary itself is very interesting. He met with a customer named Joseph. Aaron and Joseph started their business interactions and got on filming, and throughout the day, it just became weirder and weirder. Creepier and creepier. Hint, hint. So happy how it turned out, because not everyone can pull off a footage like style kind of movie. I knew something was gonna go wrong. I'm so sorry if the frame change or the lighting is changing constantly. It's because I'm using natural light and this ring light, and also I'm sorry for the frame changing. The iPad fell. So let's continue on with what I was talking about. The genre it is on is actually horror and thriller. It literally consists of 3 casts, and one of them is the director. The second movie is gonna be a classic. It is Addams Family Values. It is amazing. It is hilarious. It is just a masterpiece overall, and it's not cringy. Like I wish they would make more films like these. It's just relatable content, man. I applaud. And that's a 1993 film from the 90s. Addams Family, such a classic to watch. Addams Family Values, even more of a classic. I didn't even know there was actually a second movie, and I was just like, oh, I gave it a 5 stars and a heart. Because honestly, it deserves it. Like most of you guys probably know about it already. But basically, the Addams Family is like this gothic, monstrous family. Well, not really, literally like monstrous, but they're not also vampires. They're just like dark. In a sense, like their emotions are just dead, and they're very into violence and the opposite of being alive. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, and letterboxd overall is a 3.6 stars, and honestly it's pretty good. Genres are comedy, fantasy, and family. It's not gory, so don't worry. It's not horror. Third film I'm gonna mention is The First Wives Club. So if you don't know what First Wives Club is a film from 1996. I watched this on the 18th of January. I gave it a 4 stars in letterboxd, and my review was just capital yes. So the main trio in film, they've been friends ever since college. They had a group and all that, and then fast forward to the present time in the film, they became wives. So their husbands, they helped them, and you know, as a good wife. But eventually their husbands went for the prettier girl, and then they were like, oh, your husband's like this, like that. I think my husband found another girl. They formed this club to get their revenge. It's a women empowerment movie. It was very entertaining. There's this review that says this movie invented feminism. The ending of this movie invented women's liberation. Goldie Hawn in this movie invented acting. I also want to mention the films that I enjoyed very, very much but didn't really make it to my top 3, or films I just wanted to mention to you guys, or films that I dislike or hated. So for January, I watched the Saw series. I watched it in the month of January thanks to my friends. I haven't seen Saw ever before until then. It was very entertaining. There's just some parts of films where it was like triggering for me and very gory, so I was like, I just do that. I just cover my eyes. Yeah, we watched it through Zoom because we wanted to watch it all together, me, Thea, and Owen. So yeah, we just had a really random movie night. A movie I literally did not enjoy, or was the most confusing thing to me. I mean, like, it wasn't the most confusing thing. It had its point. It's this Filipino movie called The Generation That Gave Up on Love. First off, the title, literally the most confusing thing. Even the reviews on it, people were like, so what's the title about and all that. The way they planned out the film, I understood. Okay, yeah, I see what you guys are doing, but made no sense at the same time. Like, the watchers, including me, like, they could see what they were trying to do and what the plan was and everything, the plot was, but there was just literally something missing. And also the title did not, like, it wasn't like, it had no correlation. Before I move on to Feb, I like to mention the 19 films I've watched in January. The way this is gonna work, I'm gonna mention the movie I first watched in that month, and then blah 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 blah, and then we'll end it with the film I last watched that month. Films I've seen in January: Grease, The Generation That Gave Up on Love, Bridget Jones' Diary, Music and Lyrics, The First Wives Club, The Other Woman, Ponyo, Marriage Story, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Creep, Doctor Strange, Leap Year, Little Women, Addams Family Values, Only Life, Saw, Saw 2, Saw 3, Creep 2, and Saw 4. So for the month of Feb, I watched 22 films. A lot more than the first month. First one I'm gonna mention is Pride and Prejudice. Oh my gosh.
Pride and Prejudice.
Pride and Prejudice. Yeah, I'm saying it right. I'm saying it right? Yeah, I think I am. It's actually a book to movie adaptation. Why was that so hard to say? This is actually one of my friend's favorite books. So yeah, that's all I can remember. I've been putting it on hold, and then I was working one day and I was just like, yeah, it's time. I gave it a 5 stars. I watched it on the 2nd of Feb, and this film was made in 2015. I literally love this film. It's so good, and the cast was great. Pride and Prejudice, directed by Joe Wright. A romance ahead of its time. So yeah, the genre it lands on is drama and romance. The way it was told in the film really caught people's attention. It wasn't boring. There was no like empty scenes or like a filler scene. Everything was at the right pace. It wasn't forced. The characters, the actors. So Pride and Prejudice is a story of love and life among the landed English gentry during the Gregorian era. Mr. Bennet is a gentleman living in Hertfordshire with his overbearing wife and $5. But if he dies, their house will be inherited by a distant cousin whom they have never met. So the family's future happiness and security is dependent on the dollars making good marriages. So the next film I would like to mention is absolutely fantastic. It's called Ghost. It is a film from the 1990s. I rated it a 3.5 stars and I left it a heart. I rated it a 3.5 because it is a terrific film, amazing film, but there's just like some parts where it fell away from me. I don't know how to explain it. Okay, frame changed again. Honestly, watching it was the most hilarious thing. I think it won an award, and Whoopi won an Oscar. And then the characters here are quite known, like Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore, Whoopi Goldberg. Oh my gosh, there was this scene in the film, like at the very start of the film, so this is not a spoiler. The transition, it lives rent-free in my brain. Yeah, I recommend this movie. Pretty good, entertaining, something quick, something you don't need to like think hard about it. And the third movie I watched is from our lovely Jake Gyllenhaal, Nightcrawler. I gave Nightcrawler a 4 stars, and just from the very start, the way Jake Gyllenhaal portrayed his character was so well. Like, you can already tell that something is wrong. The guy was supposed to be creepy, had this like obsession feeling, and you could already tell from the first few parts you see Jake Gyllenhaal. This movie was very different, and if you're looking for something like that, then I recommend Nightcrawler. In this film, the character he has here is looking for a job, and he lands a journalism type of job that involves the camera, and where you catch footages of like this crime scenes or like a car crash or something important for the news. And when you give it to the news station, they'll pay you a certain amount depending on how good your film footage is. Jake Gyllenhaal's character really trying his best to get up there in the market because he's a one-man team compared to the competition who has a van, who has a team, who has camera guys, who has a suit and everything, a uniform. And the genre it lands on is crime, thriller, and drama. Oh my gosh, there's a review. It says, in loving memory of Jake Gyllenhaal, he ain't dead, but the Academy keep treating him like he is. So in Letterboxd, overall, this film has a 4.0 stars rating. I gave it a 4 stars as well. Those are the 3 I've seen that I just want to mention. And for February, the one I want to mention that I watched was the Divergent series. Honey, I don't know why, but I wanted to watch something. I finished a bunch of series while working, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna watch Divergent series. So I watched Divergent, Insurgent, and Allegiant Part 1. It obviously was not continued, and I wish I didn't ruin my 13-year-old memory, because my 13-year-old self rated that as a 4.5 stars. It should have stayed there. I should not have ruined my memory of that film. If you guys don't know, I'm a reader, and the first fandom that I fell in was Divergent. I loved being in that fandom. I loved reading about Tris and Four and all that and their adventures. I even got like all the books, including Four, as like a signed copy. Me and my sister were like lining up for that. And now here comes the films. The film made it like a rip-off of like a Hunger Games franchise. Honestly, Hunger Games were like the elite versions of those dystopian film, and then there's Divergent. Yeah, I don't know what happened in the film. None of it were like accurately portrayed. I was watching Insurgent and I was like, confused. I was confused as Caleb was. Very useless like Caleb was. Allegiant, like the last one, you couldn't even understand what they were saying. I was so confused. Even the watchers in the review were as confused. Poor 13-year-old me. I just wanted to mention that. Films I've watched for the month of Feb are Saw 5. It's kind of a funny story. All the Bright Places, When Marnie Was There, Pride and Prejudice, My Girl, The Cat Returns, Ghost, Queen's Gambit, Creating the Queen's Gambit, Penguin Bloom, All the Boys, Always and Forever, Love and Other Drugs, Back to the Future, The Wolf of Wall Street, Nightcrawler, Woke Up Like This, Divergent, Insurgent, Allegiant, Burlesque, When We First Met. So yeah, that's all the movies. Thank you guys so much for sticking here, and hope you guys found something to watch. This is like a film recommendations as well. You can add to your watch list. You guys check out my social media links below. Check out my Letterboxd to keep track of the films I'm watching. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, hanging out with me. See you guys next time. Keep doing what you're doing. And before we end this, comment down below films you've seen for the 2 months, or like what you're gonna be watching and what you found interesting in this video. Yeah.
So now we're going to your bedroom. Don't you think we're moving too soon? I love to hear you when you complain about your best friend, how she's so late. And as you're talking, I'll start thinking